Good afternoon and welcome to Let's Chat Art. We are bringing the Children's Museum to you with a series we call Let's Chat. We're going to hit topics like sports and space and nature. And today, my friends, we have art. We hope that we can help give your creativity a little boost today as we talk about art and give you some examples of how to create art. So, what is art? Well, on its most fundamental level, art is creating something. It could be a story or a painting or a drawing. It could be sculpting or making music or composing poetry. It could be digital. It could be physical. There's a whole lot of ways for you to create art. Now, here's how we're going to chat about art today. Hopefully, it'll get your creative juices flowing. Okay, first up, we have Family and Neighborhood Coordinator at the Children's Museum. Her name is Caitlin Gorman. And she's going to share how to make something inspired by Dale Chihuly's Fireworks of Glass art piece that's in the middle of the museum. Woohoo! Visiting artist Israel Solomon will show us how we can have a brain break and create art at the same time. Wow. Oh, Dave, one of our actors at the Children's Museum, needs your help to tell a story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Then visiting artist David Slonim will show us how to draw a monster. All right, I think it's time to get started. But before we really get started, I'd like to find out where people are coming from. It's always nice to know where people are coming from. So if you can comment below where you're watching this, that would be great. And if you're from Indianapolis, point out where you are in Indianapolis. Are you in Broad Ripple? Are you in Irvington? We'd love to hear where you are. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Okay, did you know that 3,900 pieces of colored glass make up the Dale Chihuly's Fireworks of Glass, 45-foot sculpture that towers over you as you walk through the museum? The sparkling glass and the vibrant colors make this whole exhibit something to behold. It ignites people's creativity. Here to talk more about the ways Fireworks of Glass inspires us is Family and Neighborhood Coordinator Caitlin Gorman. Take it away, Caitlin!
Thanks, Josh. I can't wait to share with all of you how to cook with glass today. Hello, friends. My name is Caitlin, and I am the Family and Neighborhood Programs Coordinator at the Children's Museum of Indianapolis. And since you can't come to visit us today, I thought I'd take a moment and share with you one of my favorite things at the Children's Museum, and that is Dale Chihuly's Fireworks of Glass sculpture. Dale Chihuly is a famous glass artist who lives in Tacoma, Washington, where he has a glass studio and a team of glass artists that help him create hand-blown pieces of glass, like the ones you see next to me. He works with them to assemble these pieces all together into glass installations, like our Fireworks of Glass sculpture at the museum. Today, I'm going to share with you a little bit about the glass making process, and then share with you how you can create your very own unique edible glass art at home. So to get us started, making a batch of glass is a lot like making a batch of cookies. Now, I'm sure many of you at home have made cookies with your grown-ups, right? And just like you would start with a base for your cookie dough, we need to start with a base for our batch of glass. Now, instead of making cookies and using flour, sugar, eggs, and butter, we're going to use a little bit different kinds of ingredients. The very first thing you need when you make a batch of glass is silica sand. And the silica sand, just like if you were to go to a beach and find some sand, you would need about, for our small batch here, it would be 6 cups of silica sand. That makes up 70% of the glass's final weight. The next ingredient we're going to add is going to help us lower the melting point of our batch of glass and also to make the glass very translucent and clear. And that is called soda ash. Now, like I mentioned, this is going to help lower the melting point of glass, which is typically around 1700 degrees. And now we want to be able to save a little bit of energy and not have to heat our oven so hot. So this is going to help get that temperature down just a little bit and the glass will melt sooner. The next ingredient we are going to be adding for our glass is going to be something that's going to help make it hard when it cools. And this is an ingredient that you may have heard of before. Indiana is pretty famous for it, and you can find it in many buildings all across the country. You guessed it, it is limestone, except it's not hard like a rock like you normally find. This is crushed limestone, and it's going to help make the glass hard, just like this vase, when it cools. Now, when you get all three of those things together, we have one last thing we need to add before we start to melt it. And that's going to be something special, something that makes this batch of glass unique. Just like with our batch of cookies, you might add chocolate chips, M&Ms, or butterscotch chips to your cookie dough. We're going to add a metallic compound that will help to give the glass its color. I've brought with me 3 different examples of metallic compounds, and these 3 powders turn the glass colors similar to the ones that you see in these vases beside me. I bet you'd never guess, but nickel oxide, this green powder, and with our end product, will turn the glass a nice violet color like this tall vase beside me. And then these 2, cobalt oxide and iron oxide, will turn the glass blue and green respectively, like the vase right here. These are both hand-blown vases. So what the artist did was they created their batch of glass, they added their metallic compounds, and then, just like with your cookie dough, in order to get cookies, you need to add some heat. And they heated up the glass, and once it was nice and hot, they would have dipped a punty, which is a long metal rod, into the glass and swirled it around and got a glob of glass onto the end, and they would have had to cut pieces of the glass apart. Like, this is molten, so it's kind of like a dough. And then they use that punty. It has a tube that goes through it, and they would blow to create these nice shapes and that are hollow. And then they would cut it at the end to create a vase. Now it's time. I'm going to show you all at home how you can make some edible glass art together. I'm going to clear off my metallic compounds. I'm going to put these over to the side here, and I'm going to move my vases over so they're out of the way. Now, you're going to need a few things in order to do this, and I've assembled my items right here on this tray. So, some of these items you're going to need a grown-up's help to use, but what I've gathered are some hard candies. These are lifesavers, but you can also use butterscotch discs or Jolly Ranchers. You will need some tin foil, toothpicks, a hammer, a metal baking tray, and either an oven or a toaster oven will work fine. You'll want your grown-up to preheat your oven to 300 degrees today. So, to do this, the first step is your tin foil. You'll want to fold it into a little boat like I've done here. Now I'm gonna unfold it to show you what I've done. I had a larger sheet of foil that I folded up the sides to thicken it up a little bit. And then on the inside where it's nice and smooth, that's gonna be the inside of our foil boat. So I'm gonna take my fingers and pinch the ends together to create a corner. And I'm gonna do that on all 4 sides. This is going to be what we cook our glass in. Okay, step 1 complete. Step number 2, I've kind of pre-prepped this a little bit, but what you'll wanna do is take your hard candies with a grown-up and a hammer and a towel. You can do this outside on a sidewalk, or if you have a cutting board to put on your table or counter at home, or the floor of your kitchen is fine. But you'll want to crush up your hard candies while they're still in the wrappers. You can place the towel over the candies so that it doesn't explode everywhere. But you'll want to crush those up into pieces. The finer that you crush it, the quicker it'll melt when it goes into the oven. The next step, once you've crushed your candies, is you're gonna open up your packets or untwist your Jolly Ranchers, and you will arrange them into your foil boat. That's where your toothpicks come in. You can use them to kind of guide the different colored pieces around, and then it's ready to go into the oven. Now, you'll want to leave it in the oven for anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. It just depends on how melted you want your candy glass to look. I went ahead and did one in advance, and this is my final product. I used purple, orange, and white Lifesavers. And what I did, some of them you can see here, it's a little chunkier. I didn't crush it up quite as much, and it took a little bit longer for those to melt. But I really like very minimalistic art. Some might call it contemporary, but so I just like using the color blocking technique that I did here. But at home, you can do whatever you would like. So that's the basics. And I wanted to taste this real fast. Yep, tastes like grape. So friends, thank you so much for joining me and learning a little bit more about our fireworks of glass sculpture, how to make glass, and how you can create edible glass art.
Hey, thank you.
Thank
you so much, Caitlin. You know, each year the museum recruits 1 or 2 exceptional artists with Indiana connections to publicly present and teach about their work. This is possible thanks to the Lecklider Indiana Visiting Artists Fund, with support provided by the White Oak Foundation and Sarah and John Lecklider. This year, we are hosting 2 visiting artists, Israel Solomon and David Slonim. I'm excited to introduce Israel Solomon to you. He's going to show us how to take a brain break and create art at the same time. So grab your crayons, colored pencils, or markers, and let's get started.
Thanks, Josh. I'm Israel Solomon, a visiting artist with the Children's Museum of Indianapolis, and I'm excited to do some artwork with you today. So what we're going to do today is what I would call a brain break. This is a relaxing activity, and it doesn't take a skilled drawer to complete it. All you need is a few tools, such as crayons will work, colored pencils will work, markers will work. As long as you have those tools and some paper, you can do it. So I'm going to show you guys what the project looks like, and then I'm going to kind of just walk you through it, and then I want you guys to see what you can do. So if you take a look here, this is the project that we're going to work on. It's an abstract drawing, and it kind of relaxes your brain. There's no right and no wrong way to do it. But in order to do it, we have to understand organic and inorganic lines. Now, an organic line is simply defined as a curvy line. An inorganic line is a straight line. And the reason that we need to know that is because when we're doing this, what we want to do is we want to have balance. We want to use almost an equal amount of organic and inorganic lines while we create the image. So I'm going to start with my paint marker, but again, you guys can use whatever tools you have at home. Crayons will work, colored pencils will work, markers will work, all of that is fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with an organic shape. So here we go. I'll start just like this. So as you can see, I created just a simple circular type of shape. It's organic. Now to balance it off immediately, I'm going to create an inorganic line. Just like so. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start to fill my page up with these types of lines. Now I would like to see you fill your page up all the way from top to bottom, but I'm just going to focus in the center of the page. And we just want to relax while we're creating our design. We don't want to worry. We don't want to look at it and say, oh, it has to look just like this or just like I imagined. Just let your mind go and just keep creating. Now I've got some more organic. I'm going to create another straight line, just like so. Balance it out. Maybe I'll put another straight line here. Maybe I'll come down and make some more wavy, curvy, organic lines. Just until I get satisfied with what I'm creating. I'm not satisfied yet. I want to fill up more through this area and up through here. So I'm just going to do that. Let's see what I can do. There's another organic line, excuse me. I'm going to come down here, make an inorganic triangular shape. I'm going to add some dimension to it. And I'm just going to keep going until I feel satisfied. Maybe I'll come here and make another bubbly shape. And again, I'm just balancing everything out to where it feels right. There's another wiggly, curvy, organic line that I'm adding in here, just like so. Now, I'm looking at the drawing and I feel like maybe a little bit more can come through here to add some balance. So that's just what I'll do. I'll add another wavy, organic line there, straight line here, straight line, and then maybe another wavy line here. It's really up to how you're feeling. There's no right, there's no wrong. Just get your feelings out on the paper. You'll feel better when you're done also. So I'm getting close. Again, I can fill all of this up, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to focus sort of in the center of my paper. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to start to color my shapes. So when you're coloring your shapes, one thing that you want to focus on is you don't want to put colors right beside each other. You want to give the image that you're creating balance and variety and rhythm. In order to do that, I would say place colors not next to each other. So if I put a red here, maybe I'll put a yellow here. And if I have a yellow here, maybe a blue here. So I'm going to go ahead and take this pinkish red color. And again, you can use crayons, markers, paint sticks, colored pencils, whatever you like. And I'm going to put that pink right there, that pinkish red color. I'm going to find a yellow and I'm going to sit it right beside that pink. Just like so, filling it all the way up. And it may take you a little bit more time than what it's taken me because I have a big tool to use here. But what you want to do is you want to fill up the whole image until you get yourself to this point right here. All right. So I hope you guys had fun doing this artwork with me. You know, I look forward to seeing maybe some of your work in the future. And just keep on creating. It's a good way to express yourselves and to get some of that energy out of your body. All right. Now back to you, Josh.
Thank you, Israel. I decided to take my own little brain break and make some of the work that you made here. I got it's my creation. I'm not finished with it yet. Inspired by the Mo Willems Pigeon and Pals on this one. You know, we'd love to see your artistic creations too. After this show is over, ask your grown-up to post a picture of your extraordinary artwork on their favorite social media platform. Make sure they use the hashtag #TCMAtHome so we can see the great stuff you've created. You know, we love telling stories at the Children's Museum. One walk through our American Pop exhibit or a ride around our carousel would tell you that we're also big fans of music at the museum. What happens when you combine the love of a good story and the joy of making music? Well, actor Dave is here to show us what can happen.
Hi everybody, my name's Dave, and I'm an actor at the Children's Museum of Indianapolis. I miss the Children's Museum just as much as you do. So today I thought that I would do one of my favorite programs here in my house. And I need your help. I need your help to tell the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and I need your help to create a musical soundtrack for the story. Have you ever watched your favorite TV show or a cartoon and you saw a car going across the screen and you hear the sound of a car? Or when something really scary is happening, there's creepy music playing? That's the soundtrack. So I need your help. To create your part of the soundtrack, I need you to get two things from your kitchen. So ask your grown-up if you can borrow a spoon, a wooden spoon or a plastic spoon, and a plastic food storage container like this. So while you go get these two things, I'll set up the story here on my table. Did you get the two things you need to make your musical instrument? A plastic food storage container and a spoon? Great. So put those to the side and we'll get back to those later. All right? First of all, I want to show you the items that I have chosen to play the different parts of the story. So first of all, we have the three bears. I've got this great big plate. Great big plate. Great big plate. And this is going to be Papa Bear. I've got this medium-sized plate. Medium-sized plate. And that's going to be Mama Bear. And I've got this teeny tiny plate. Teeny tiny plate, and that's going to be Baby Bear. All right, so we've got our three bears. Now I looked all over my house for something to play Goldilocks, and the best I could do was this evil robot from my favorite television show. I made a wig for it out of Play-Doh, so there's Goldilocks. Excellent. All right, now I also have 3 bowls of different sizes for the bear's bowls, and I've got these 3 plastic containers of various sizes to play the bear's beds. All right, so let's get our instruments. Get your plastic storage container and your spoon, and we're going to practice playing our instruments. First of all, we're going to make the quietest sound that we can. Tap, 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 tap. Excellent. All right, now let's make a medium-sized sound. Great. All right, now let's make the loudest sound we can. Pretty good, right? Excellent. Okay, so you're going to be making sounds during the story, and I'll tell you when to grab your instrument and make the sounds, okay? Excellent. I think we are all ready to tell the story of Goldilocks and the 3 bears. Once upon a time, in a cottage in the woods, lived 3 bears. There was Papa Bear, Papa Bear. There was Mama Bear, Mama Bear. And there was little Baby Bear, Baby Bear. Every morning, the alarm clock would go off on Mama Bear's iPhone, and she'd reach over to the phone and she'd tap the snooze. And then 9 minutes later, it would ring again, and all 3 bears would stretch and yawn, and they'd get up out of their beds and make their beds and head down to the kitchen to make porridge for breakfast. So, on this particular morning, they made a great big bowl of porridge for Papa Bear, a medium-sized bowl of porridge for Mama Bear, and a teeny tiny bowl of porridge for little Baby Bear. Well, the porridge was too hot to eat, so Papa Bear suggested that they go for a walk outside and let the porridge cool off. So, grab your instruments and let's make a little walking sound as the bears head that direction on their walk. Walk, 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 walk. And away they went. Now, on that end of the path came little Goldilocks. La 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 la. She stopped at the bear's house and she smelled something delicious. Porridge, she thought. My favorite. Man, I love porridge so much. Maybe the people in this house will let me have some. So she tapped gently on the door. Let's take our instruments and tap gently on the door. Tap, 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 tap. No answer. So she decided to tap a little louder. So let's tap a little louder. Tap, 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 tap. Still no answer. So she tapped as loudly as she could. Tap, 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 tap. Still no answer. Well, at this point, Goldilocks should have just headed on down the path to the park where she was going and just gone ahead. But instead, today she decided to make a bad choice. Bad choice. She tried the front door. Squeak! The door opened. She made another bad choice. She went inside the house. It wasn't her house. She wasn't invited. She went up to the table and she saw these 3 delicious bowls of porridge. So she goes up to the first bowl of porridge and that was Papa Bear's. It was the great big bowl. Now, get your instruments and play along here. What she did was she picked up the spoon and she chewed and chewed, and whoa, she stopped chewing right away and dropped that spoon because this porridge in the great big bowl was way too hot. Yes, so she went to the medium-sized bowl of porridge, Mama Bear's porridge. She picked up the spoon and she chewed and chewed, and whoa, she dropped that spoon, put that bowl of porridge away because it was way too cold, the opposite of hot. And then she went to the teeny tiny bowl of porridge, Baby Bear's porridge, and she picked up the spoon and she chewed and chewed and chewed. This porridge was just right. And she chewed and chewed and chewed and noshed and noshed and noshed and ate and ate and ate and scraped and scraped and scraped and scraped, and boom, she finished that porridge in 45 seconds, which is way too fast. You should never eat that fast. Take your time when you eat. Well, after she'd eaten that porridge, she was feeling a little tired. She thought, maybe there's a place where I could take a nap somewhere. So she made another bad choice. She tiptoed up the stairs to see if there was a place to take a nap. La 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 la. Well, she came to the bear's bedroom and she found 3 beautiful beds to choose from. She hopped into the great big bed first, and she had this trick to fall asleep. She would just kind of rock back and forth to fall asleep. So let's take our instruments and rock back and forth and back. And whoa, she hopped out of that bed and dragged the sheets and blankets across the floor because this bed wasn't comfortable. It was way too hard. So she tried the medium-sized bed, Mama Bear's bed. And she hops on and she rocks back and forth and back and forth. And whoa, she hops out of that bed, dragging the duvet across the floor because Mama Bear's bed had a nice little duvet on it. And it wasn't comfortable either. It was the opposite of the great big bed. It was way too soft. No support at all. So she hops into the teeny tiny bed, little Baby Bear's bed. And she rocks back and forth and back and forth. And whoa, this bed's just right. And she rocks back and forth and back and forth. And Goldilocks fell into a deep, dreamy sleep. Well, as Goldilocks was falling into this deep, dreamy sleep, the 3 bears were returning home from their walk. So grab your instruments and let's make our little walking sound. Walk, 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 walk. Well, Papa Bear stopped at the front door right away because something was wrong. The door was open. So he walked in very carefully and immediately realized something was wrong with the bowls of porridge they had left to cool. He goes up to his bowl of porridge and he looks down, and what does he say? Get your instruments ready. Someone's been eating my porridge. And Mama Bear looks at her medium-sized bowl of porridge and she says, someone's been eating my porridge. And little Baby Bear looks at his empty bowl of porridge and he says, someone's been eating my porridge and they ate it all. Look, there's nothing left. What's going on? Well, the 3 bears were very disappointed because they'd been looking forward to eating their porridge after their walk. So they tiptoed up the stairs as quietly as 3 bears could to see if something was going on up there. So immediately, Papa Bear sees his bed, which he made that morning, with the blankets and the sheets all over the floor. And what does he say? He says, someone's been sleeping in my bed. And Mama Bear looks at her duvet on the floor, and it had little footprints on it from a little girl. And she said, someone's been sleeping in my bed. And then little Baby Bear looks down at his bed, and he says, someone's been sleeping in my bed, and she's still there. Look, she's fast asleep. What's going on? At that moment, Goldilocks woke up from her deep, dreamy sleep. Now, I don't know about you, But maybe you don't scare easily, maybe you're really brave, but if I were to wake up from one of my power naps and found myself surrounded by 3 bears, I would scream. So let's all scream as loudly as we can on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. That's what Goldilocks did. She screamed. She jumped out of bed. She ran out of the room. She went down the stairs, quickly and breathlessly singing her little song. La 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 la. And she headed down the path, and she never came back again. And the 3 bears never saw her ever again. And by the way, Goldilocks made a vow to herself from that very day. She vowed to herself never to go anywhere she wasn't first invited. And all 4 of them, Goldilocks and the 3 bears, lived happily ever after. Whoa, give yourselves a round of applause. That was terrific. Thank you for helping me bring to life the story of Goldilocks and the 3 bears. Now, as you can see, all it took was a plastic container and a wooden spoon to bring the story to life. So try your own stories and bring your own stories to life. All right.
Thanks, Dave. As I mentioned earlier, the Children's Museum is honored to host 2 visiting artists this year. You heard from Israel earlier. Now it's time for visiting artist David Slonim.
Thanks, Josh. Hey, this is David Michael Slonim. I'm a visiting artist with the Children's Museum of Indianapolis, and today we're going to draw monsters together. So get a pencil or a crayon or a black marker, maybe a piece of paper, and let's get ready to draw some monsters. Here's a picture of monsters that I drew and painted a little while ago. I'm going to set this on my board for inspiration. Let them kind of watch things as we go along. All right, professionals always start with something very important. I'm giving you some secrets here. Draw shapes. That's the first thing to think about. I'm going to put that up here. Draw shapes. So you're going to want to think about whether your monster is mainly a circular, oval kind of thing, or maybe it's a rectangular kind of thing, or maybe it's a triangular kind of thing. All right, shapes. And then we're going to just draw mood. All right, because art is always about feeling or emotion. We're trying to communicate something about the way the world feels to this monster. What's going on today? Happy? Sad? This one's kind of confused, and we've got surprised, angry, sad, kind of happy. How does your monster feel? Well, we could give it angry eyes. Angry eyes. We could give it surprised eyes. We could give it happy. Whoops, that doesn't look happy. That looks kind of afraid. Let's do one over here. We could give it happy eyes. Or we could give it squinty eyes, like suspicious. Ooh, or maybe our monster is feeling tired and sleepy eyes. Oh yeah, sleepy eyes is good. I like sleepy eyes. All right, next, how does the face look overall? Is it smiling? Is it making a face? Is it teeth showing? What's it doing? Okay, so let's give it this one a big old mouth with teeth, and we can make this one kind of going woo with the tongue showing. Wahoo! And this one's going, I don't know if I like this. And then maybe this one is kind of saying, oh yay, this is my favorite thing in the world. I just love being a monster with a square head. And maybe this one's going, I don't know about this. I'll have to see about this situation. And maybe this one's just snoring away. Z, Z, Z. On cartoons, I don't know why, but people sleeping always snore by making Z's in the air. All right, so then the next thing that professionals always do, this is important, draw it again. Are you surprised? Professionals always draw it again to get it right. So now that I've thought about shapes, and now that I've thought about mood, I'm going to draw it again and try to bring it all together. And for today, I'm going to decide I want to draw this circular monster, and I want to make him feeling hungry mad. Like he's so hungry, he's mad. I think they call that hangry. Here we go. So over here on this piece of paper, I'm going to draw my circle monster, and he's hangry. Rawr. He's just kind of hangry. I drew shapes first. I drew a circular shape. I drew my angry eyes, and now I'm drawing a big open mouth, and I can make a big black opening in here to make it look like you're seeing down his throat. And really all he wants to eat, if we're telling our little story here, is a little cookie. So I'm going to give him a hand to hold his cookie. See, all he has is hands. He doesn't even have a body. Maybe that's why he's angry. Got some knees here. And there it is. So draw your monster. Draw shapes, draw mood, and then when you decide how you want it designed, draw it again. Have a great day. Back to you, Josh.
Wow, thanks, David. We're sure that you've created some amazing pieces of art during our show today. Don't forget to ask a grown-up to post a picture of your extraordinary artwork on their favorite social media platform. Just make sure they use the hashtag #TCMAtHome. Well, thanks again for joining us today. We hope we were able to give you a little creativity boost. Be sure to join us next week, same time, same place, for Let's Chat Nature. Stay safe and stay healthy, everyone. Goodbye.